Hi everyone, I am doing my inner J-Lo inspired by the wonderful Grace Fong, who was so wonderful to be my first guest in my last video. So hopefully I did her proud. I don't know, but I'm liking the high ponytail feel like J-Lo likes to do. So we'll get into it. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Divorcee Diaries YouTube channel. I'm Jacqueline Belle and welcome to my channel. For those of you that are new, I'm a blogger, a vlogger. I'm also on Instagram and I create content for individuals that are divorced or going through a breakup, and hopefully it can provide some type of resource or support for you along the way from the perspective of one divorcee. So today I want to talk with all of you about my 2 years. My 2 years since I separated from my ex-husband and moved on to live my beautiful, fabulous life as the independent Jacqueline Belle that I am. So it's been 2 years. 2 years. 2 years ago this month, I and my partner, or my ex-husband at the time, decided, hey, it's quits time, moved out of my house, moved into my new apartment. Well, moved into the same apartment complex that I'm in now, and began my new life as no longer a wife, but as a single Jacqueline, in a sense. So I'm gonna talk to all of you today about life then, being drained and depressed, and life now, which is happy and thriving. So I'll talk to you all a little bit about then, now, and everything in between to help me get to where I am now, because I know that for many of you that are going through a divorce yourself, or are curious about it, or are going through a really hard breakup, you can probably relate. And I want to tell all of you that there is a light at the end of that tunnel. So come along and we will reflect together. So what can I say about where I was 2 years ago? Y'all, it was a very, very different time. How can I say this? What's one word? I was sad, y'all. I was sad. I'm being real. I was sad and I was depressed. It was very, very, very sad. I didn't need a psychologist to tell me I was depressed, because I'm pretty sure I was, and I'm quite aware of my circumstance, especially looking at my reflections, meditations, and looking at where I was then, where I was now, talking with friends, talking with family. I was just recently on the phone with my sister and my dad, just reflecting on like how 2 years have just gone by like that, and how different it was. Every day seemed to be just one day that I had to take at each moment. I don't know if any of you have ever been at a time in your life where you could not think about the next day. You could only think about the next moment. And that next moment is all that you can focus on in order to get through the day, in order to get through the week. There's lots of tears, lots of different types of feelings that I had. A bit of relief, I'll be honest, right? Because as I've told all of you in vlogs and my blog posts before, there's a lead up to that moment. And it's still painful, it's still hard. There's a sense of relief in some sense to not have to try anymore so hard, because a lot of that attempt was very hurtful for me. It was very painful, especially when you're seeing that it's just gonna continue, it's continuing to go up and down, or just continuing to go down. So there's relief there, but there's also a lot of pain, a lot of embarrassment, and a lot of heartache. I'll talk a little bit about that as we go through this vlog. So in my journey of healing, so from the initial aftermath of 2 years ago, March around this time, and honestly, I'd say the first 3 to 6 months was really focusing on my healing process. So that was 2019. And being able to focus on myself meant I did a lot of therapy, both one-on-one therapy as well as group therapy, which I actually really recommend. I really like going to group therapy. It's also a lot more affordable. So if you want to learn more about that, check out my blog post on how to heal. That'll tell you a little bit more about that. So that's a great option. I also worked out a ton, just like let it all go, worked out quite a bit. I surrounded myself with my friends and my loved ones, And I was able to travel. Traveling was something that, and I've mentioned this before, even in I made its own post about its own blog post, as well as my own vlog post about the travels that I've gotten to do solo, which was more impactful to me than I had known. And it was really by the grace of God, in my opinion, that I was able to even find this as something that I needed that I could do for myself for my healing. Because it was out of happenstance that I had to go on my 30th birthday all by myself, because no longer was I going with my ex-husband. So it was a lot. It was eye-opening, and it was serendipitous, because otherwise I wouldn't have gone. I wouldn't have made this plan to go on this trip. So it was really healing, because I was able to find myself again, and to realize, and this is very important, to realize that in the end, you have yourself, and that you will get yourself through anything. And that was something that was so important for me to know, because when you are married, there is an aspect of independence that is a bit lost. It's very hard to maintain all of your independence as a single person when you have someone else that you can rely on now, that helps make life a bit easier. In some ways, if you have a really good, strong partnership, it's nice to have someone to help with like the little things, right? Help with groceries, help with being able to talk through a problem that you have. Like there's aspects of independence that get loosened when you're in a relationship. So having the opportunity to regain that strength in myself was amazing. And also dating actually was very, very transformative for me. It helped me a lot with identifying who it was I wanted to be with, in the future, and also helped strengthen my own self, because in my own narrative that I had in my head now of men are, just not worth my time. And they, are all this one way. That was not the truth, but at that time, I definitely felt like that was true for me. So it was really helpful to be eye-opening in that way. And I also really love meeting people. So hearing different stories from people, something that really helps me, intrigues me, it piques my interest. So that's something that I've always looked forward to. And I highly recommend it if you haven't gone on a date before, I would, or gone on dates, just to see what's out there, to see what it is that you want in a partner, and to also see how you yourself act on a date or in a relationship with someone. That's very important. So those are some of the things that I continue to do in my healing journey, especially during the first 6 months. And through that time, I was able to, date more seriously, because I took a few peeks and dips in the dating pool and didn't come back. And that's, again, another blog or blog post if you want to know about dating after divorce. I go over it all there. But it really helped me shape what it is I'm looking for, and what I'm looking for in a partnership as well, not just a person, but in the partnership, and how I see myself in it. So it's really, really very helpful in that way. And last year, when I went into a year of being completely by myself, no longer being a wife, I also remember feeling so transformative, where the year before was just so different than where I was now. And that really propelled me to create my blog. I created my blog shortly after, really reflecting in February/March of last year. So it was really what propelled me to measure the amount of growth and healing that's happened, and how I've grown as a person, how I've grown professionally. So professionally, I have this amazing space where I can help share my story, help share resources, help share education about what it's like to be a divorcee in a US-based context, and what that means for myself as a young divorced woman living and working in this space, and what that feels like and what that looks like. So that's been tremendously helpful to be able to see that I started a blog post to help others. I've started a vlog to help others. Like it's amazing to identify that, and to even see now, 2 years later, that professionally I have thrived. I have gotten these promotions. I have been able to grow as a supervisor, as a coworker, as a teammate, and that has meant so much to me in so many ways, so many ways. So that's been really exciting and wonderful. I've also realized I've also made particular commitments to myself, and one of those commitments is to travel at least once a year solo. This year's a little bit different because of COVID. COVID changed up a few things. So that just shows you, right? In life, you never really know what it will throw at you. So you can do your best, your very, very best with whatever comes your way, because you never know. You never know what's going to come along. This time, January of 2020, I thought, oh, this year is going to be different. I'm going to travel all the time because in my job, I have about 5 weeks off of work if I wanted to do it for the whole year. So I was like, this is it. I'm just gonna go travel, do all these things. Did not do that because of COVID. But it was still wonderful because I was able to reflect a lot. I was able to really focus on just being still and be grateful for the moment. And a lot of what I've learned even this past year from March 2020 to March 2021 this year is just gratitude, immense gratitude, and being able to also see the beauty and the life that is around you even when you are having to sit in your home and just watch Netflix and read, or focus on your work. I've focused a lot on work, which has been really hard, very challenging in its own way, but has for me reaped some great benefits. So there's a lot of amazing things that happen and have happened these past 2 years, and I'm so grateful for it. So now I'll talk about today, where I'm at today and what I'm feeling, all of that. So I must say I have had so much joy creating the Divorcee Diaries. I am so happy that I can create multiple ways to share resources and share my story with others, and that other people are finding that helpful. I cannot tell you how many people have reached out to me and just shared, I'm going through this right now, or I just got divorced. Thank you so much for sharing this, or relating to any of my content that I share in my Instagram. Because sometimes I try to make light of the situation, right? Sometimes you can't help but look back and laugh, because honestly, that's what I've done, right? I look back and I'm like, wow, I was so young. I think I did a story on this too, where I was reading through some of my journals and I was like, oh my gosh. When I first met my then husband, 23, maybe 24, and it's just so, you're so young, you're a different person. And it's a beautiful thing just to see how much you've grown. And I really enjoy doing that. So being able to share my story and help others has been the biggest blessing, I must say, and I've really enjoyed that. Also, navigating a new relationship. So I've been with my current partner for about a year, and it's different. It's different, and I'm glad that it's different, because if it was the same, then that would not be good. I wouldn't be learning, right? I wouldn't be growing. So it's been really nice to be in a serious relationship with a new partner, as myself, a much more mature person than I was, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. So it's been really great to see that difference and to embrace this new beginning, this new opportunity for myself. Also, freedom. I've had so much freedom no longer being married, because there is a lot of pressure. And for my married folks out there is pressure, whether it's from family or friends. I got a lot of accolades when I was married, like, oh, you and your husband, you two are like the most beautiful couple. You love each other so much, all these things, da 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 da. But nobody saw what was happening on the other side. Nobody saw that we weren't happy. Nobody saw that this was not something that was for us, and it was very challenging. So that's just one of things I think about, is like not having that pressure anymore to be a good wife, to be in a good marriage, to have kids and all of these things. Because people think that when you're married, you can just ask them any question. That's really it, And anyone that's married will understand what I'm saying. So that's the freedom there as well, and growing personally and professionally, just focusing on me and my professional goals, what I want to do, what apartment I want to live in. I chose this apartment for myself. And this, I know, is probably not the type of apartment that many people might want to do, but this is what I want to do. And that's all that matters to me, is that this is where I want to live, what gives me happiness, what gives me joy. So I highly recommend finding a place that you can live in, that you find joy in, whatever gives you joy. For me, it's this nice, lovely, modern aesthetic. It's a lot of plants. There's actually more plants in my apartment. I'll show you that one day. And it's really being able to embrace what you want to do in life, whether it's like, I want to go eat this and not worry about it, and I want to go do this professionally. I want to spend 12 hours working on this awesome passion project because I can. Having that freedom is amazing, and making sure you're in a partnership that allows for that is also wonderful. So that is what I will say are some of the takeaways I've had from these past 2 years. It's been 2 years of growth and development, and I'm super happy with where I am at today. I don't regret anything. I don't regret, as much as I might make fun of it sometimes about getting married, but I don't regret it. It was wonderful. I'm glad that it lasted as long as it did, and I'm glad that I'm where I'm at now. Because I could not, I tell all of you, when I was 30, because I'm about to be 32 this year, this time, like 5 years ago, when I thought about my life, especially my life with my ex-husband, I thought I was going to have kids by this time. And honestly, I can't even imagine that. I cannot imagine that. I feel too young. I feel like there's too many things in life that I still need to do, that I still want to do, that need to happen. So I feel so relieved to know that I have that freedom. I have that freedom to not have that expectation on myself. And I also have the freedom to not put barriers on myself. I mean, I try not to plan too much either anymore, because when I first moved into this apartment complex, I moved into a different apartment last year. So now it's a nice bigger apartment. But when I first moved out, I thought I would be here no longer than 2 years. And then I'd be getting like a house or moving away or doing whatever, becoming a big VP somewhere. That hasn't happened yet. But 2 years have gone by and that hasn't happened yet. But I'm excited to see what will be in store for the next 2 years afterwards. Time has really flown. So I want all of you to know that are currently going through a divorce or are working your way through it, or not sure, but it's getting rocky. If it's fearful for you to be in a situation that is where you don't know what the other side will look like, I hope that you know that the other side looks a lot better. It can look a lot better if you allow it to, if you focus on yourself, and work on letting go of those expectations or the sadness of it. So my hope is that you all took away some nuggets here and there. I thank you all so very much for your time. I hope to see you again. If you liked what you saw, please leave a thumbs up. Have a great rest of this week, a wonderful rest of the month, a Women's History Month. And please follow me on Instagram or follow my blog. All information is below in the show notes. Mwah! Enjoy yourselves. Bye.